If you're gonna make a broth that only uses 2 ingredients, they better be the best ingredients you can possibly get. I make this broth every summer. It uses nothing but cantaloupes or rock melons and Chinese ham. The melons that you pick out have to be overripe. You have to be able to smell them from across the room, and they should practically just smell like melons and sugar. They're heavy for their size and suspiciously soft. Normally you store them out in the open, covering them with a net so the fruit flies don't get to it. But they were so soft and so tender and so ripe that I feel like another hour in the summer heat, they will start to go bad. So I keep them in the fridge, and when it's finally time to make the broth, I take them out, cut them in half, and scrape out the seeds. If you find that maybe your melon has a little bit of mold on one end of it, if you are brave enough and you're willing to take the risk, as I have, and I am, you can cut off that piece and use the rest if it's still good. I mean, if it seems like it's still good. You are going to boil these for quite a long time after all, but then again, to you, it might not be worth the risk. To me, I risk it every single time. I risk it every single time the same way that I risk eating raw fermented cheese, the kind that is illegal to have here in the United States. What's the point in building a strong body if you're not going to put it through some shit for the sake of fleeting pleasure, right? And even though all I want to do is just roll my eyes, look at you funny, and just say, it's fine. It's gonna be fine. You'll be fine. My lawyer brain in the back of my head is screaming at me saying that it's not fine. Not everybody will be fine. So basically what I'm trying to say is, I like this soup, and it's worth it to me to put myself at risk of foodborne illness for the sake of making this soup, no matter how small that risk might be. The risk is not zero. If you want to do it, that's on you. But if not, you can just watch me do it. This melon was perfectly fine, by the way. There was no mold or anything. I'm just saying if there was, it wouldn't stop me. So at this point, you've seen me take out all the melon and trying to save as much of the melon pulp and juice that I can from the rind, putting it into a pot and setting it to a boil. The other ingredient is Chinese cured ham. This is supposedly modeled after Jinhua ham, a very special and revered ham made in China. It's pretty much our answer to Iberico. It is intensely flavored, very salty, and just so packed with umami. If you can't find it, you might have some luck using a very high quality Parma ham, or maybe even the bone of an Iberico ham. Another way I used to enjoy Jinhua ham when I got to try it as a kid, it was I think I have had it steamed and drizzled with honey, which might explain why I like this broth so much. In regards to the balance of sweetness and savoriness, it's almost 50-50. Becoming sweeter whenever you bite into a piece of melon and becoming more salty whenever you bite into a piece of ham. And in this way, I swear to God, the flavors are literally dancing. What goes into the pot is literally 2 for 2. The pulp and the juices of 2 whole, overripe melons, as well as 2 pieces of Jinhua ham. And while you can enjoy this broth in multiple ways, I recommend drinking it as a drinking broth first, by putting it filtered in a mug. Because of its sweetness and because of how refreshing melon is, it kind of has the characteristics of a tea in the sense that it is just very satisfying to drink out of a mug. For that reason, I find this to be something that I particularly enjoy having early in the morning for breakfast. As some of you know, I am a huge fan of drinking specifically made broths for breakfast, but I generally don't do it in the summer because, you don't want to get too hot. This is one of the exceptions. The flavors are not unlike having melon with prosciutto. Obviously, the Chinese ham tastes quite a bit different from any kind of Italian hams that you might have, or even American hams, but at the same time, if you are a person who enjoys the flavors of ham paired with anything that is sweet, this is probably something that you would thoroughly enjoy. This applies to you if you enjoy your prosciutto with melon, or if you just really like a honey-baked ham. Now, if you are going to eat it with dumplings, watch carefully. Dumplings in this broth are fine. It's alright. It's pretty good, but to push it into the area of like, holy crap, this is amazing, you need to make it spicy. Using some kind of chili oil or chili crisp or laoganma, that spiciness really carries on to the saltiness of the ham and brings the broth into really satisfying dumpling soup territory. If you live in Michigan, I would say that you probably have until late August to get melons that are good for this broth. The seasonality of these fruits where I am in general is about from late May to early September, depending on how hot our fall is. That being said, just because they're there for you to buy doesn't mean that they're ready. I would say that the melons that are good for this broth are only available between July and August. So if for any reason you need to commit to memory how the best way to make the soup is, you just need 2 pieces of ham, 2 melons, and you've got 2 months to make it.